Hello, welcome to this session on Japan. Over the next 40 minutes, we will talk a bit about life, work, and business experiences. Feel free to ask questions. We will try to make the session as interactive as possible. Our guest is Ana Raquel Vieira de Castro. Raquel is the CEO of Vieira, a renowned Portuguese company founded in 1943 that operates in the biscuits, almonds, and candies sector. In fact, this is a time of the year in Portugal when we traditionally consume one of Vieira's products, the chocolate-covered almonds. And out of curiosity for the foreigners that are with us, just tell you that in Portugal, they are one of the most commonly gifted and enjoyed treats during Easter, especially as gift from godparents to godchildren. But what brings us here today is Japan. Vieira, which exports to dozens of markets worldwide, has been selling to Japan for several years. Raquel, welcome. Thank you for accepting this invitation. I've known Raquel for many years and I admire the work she has been doing, so it's really a pleasure to have Raquel with us. So Raquel, you lived in Japan. Why did you decide to spend some time in Japan, and does that relate to Vieira's business in the market, or was two different things, two separate things?
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for this invitation. And another curiosity is that me and Pedro, we met also because of Japan. So it's a common point since a long time. It is a pleasure to be here and to share a little bit Vieira experience and my personal experience, because as Pedro says, I lived in Japan for a while, and a long time ago. And it was not a personal decision. It was a professional challenge that I received. Vieira worked with Japan since the 90s. So when I started at Vieira, I was dealing in the export markets, and Japan was important for us. And the regular visits of the Japanese team to our company bring me some curiosity about some issues, namely claims. Because they are very strict in terms of process, and we were being challenged by them because of some issues, not quality issues, but some issues that were not normal for our culture, namely a biscuit being upside down in the pack. For us is not an issue. We just eat the biscuit, is the same biscuit, but for them was something strange. And once I was very young and starting in the business and knowing nothing about Japan, I asked them why they were arguing about this problem on the biscuits. And a senior manager, a Japanese senior manager that I call till today my Japanese father, told me, Anna, if you want to understand this, you need to live in Japan. I say, oh, okay, but how can I do that? And he told me, you are more than welcome in our company. They were our distributors. And I will be very glad that you spend some time with us to understand the market and our culture. And maybe you will return with the answer to your curiosities. Okay. So that's how I was invited to go to Japan, and I stayed there working in our distributor, of course, not only to understand their culture, but to develop the business, but at the same time, being in the context of Japan, automatically I would start understanding their way of behave and their way of thinking, and understanding why they were asking some strange things for us Latin people. It was very strange, but in fact, after spending there a couple of months, I came with a completely different perception. And for me, it was a maxim for my life. It's that culture is the first barrier that we have when we are working abroad. So it's very important to understand to where we are going, to better serve and to succeed in where we want to develop our business.
I agree, though I think that we don't give the importance that you mentioned to the cultural differences. I think we should pay a little more attention on that. And living in the country, of course, it gives you the, you know, the real life experience that you need to understand them better. Where were you living? Tokyo or in another? Where was your
in Tokyo?
Yeah, Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Okay. And you were going every day to the office, working there. Did they
Every
speak
day.
English? Because I remember when I lived there, not everybody was speaking in English, so it was
Yes.
difficult to communicate.
Most of the people didn't speak English. Today is different. There's a big evolution in this aspect. But on that time, I was by myself, let's say. Only a couple of people were speaking English. And just to give you an idea, it was in 2000 when I lived there. You don't have the mobiles doesn't work as it works today. You don't have internet connection as you have today, and it took me 2 weeks to be connected to internet connection and to start communicating with Portugal, because the IT manager didn't speak English at all. So we solved the problem between Japanese and Portuguese, and we gesture, because there was no other way to understand.
Okay, well, that's
So it was
nice.
an experience.
And where were you living? It was an apartment, you know. Who found the place for you? Because my experience is that, you know, the apartments there are very, very small. I will also like then to connect this with the distribution system, the convenience stores, the importance of the vending machines. But, you know, for me, it was really a surprise to see small apartments of 12, 8, 10, 12 square meters. How was your?
They were very kind, and they found me an hotel near the premises of our distributor, but it was 8 square meter
8 square
room.
meters.
Yes,
So you were living in 8 square meters for a couple of months.
You didn't have space to open your luggage.
Yes,
it was so small. So, but it was in Tokyo. It was not. It was in a entrance of the monorail, which was 2 stations from Amamatsu.
Okay. The one that goes to the fair.
That goes to Haneda.
Yeah,
that goes to Haneda. That's
Airport,
that monorail. Yes. On that time, it seemed that I was living in the middle of highways, because you don't have nothing outside the hotel, nothing, unless the monorail. You have always to take the monorail to go everywhere. So it seemed that I was living just in the middle of highways. It was very strange. And I have to discover the city by trying to go one station ahead and another station ahead, and that's how I start learning how the city was organized.
I spent the first 2 weeks in a hotel as well, but I remember when I felt that I was in Tokyo was one day. It was like, I don't know, 7 o'clock in the evening, and I went to Shibuya. And you know, when you come out of the train, it's like
it's
okay, now I'm in Japan. You know, it's like, and it's fantastic. But going back to the space, you know, as they don't have much space. For example, I was not buying grocery as I usually do in Portugal, so I was buying every day. Actually, by the train stations, you have supermarkets, convenience stores, etc., and they have this habit of selling everything in vending machines. Does this, you know, made Vieira, or you know, you were forced to adapt some of your products, you know, to have, you know, smaller boxes, I don't know, smaller packaging because of this, or
in fact, there's a connection. We are the biggest producer in Portugal of convenience packs in biscuits. and we were motivated by the Japanese market. But the truth is that we are not selling those small packs to Japan. It's curious because we were influenced and we understood it could be an opportunity, and it became a big opportunity here. But in Japan, we started working with those kind of convenience products, but it was not because in our case, our distributor, they wanted the product as standard as possible because they were specialized in products from the world. So they wanted the Maria biscuit to be exactly as we sell in Portugal, all the products, the chocolate coated almonds, in the same packaging as usual, as traditional as in Portugal. So we developed the convenience sizes thinking in Japan, and we sold a little bit, and it was mainly, it is curious, for pachinko shops, because as you know, the reward couldn't be money for the kids. So you earn points, and then you can change the points by products that they have in the pachinko shops. And some of the products were Vieira products in the small packs. That's where we bring our small packs. But it was not the most sellable products in Japan.
What is the best seller in Japan?
Curiosity, Maria biscuit.
Maria
they love
biscuit?
our Maria biscuit. We have two, let's say, two big products there. One is Millennium, is a sandwich biscuit, cocoa sandwich biscuit with vanilla cream. And the other one is Maria, because Maria was the first one in the 90s that we introduced. And in terms of international products, is the main brand in Japan is Vieira.
And you kept the same importer since the 90s, so it's the same.
90s, yes. It's a wedding, as I usually say. It took long time to reach the agreement and to arrive to the point to start. But then it is for life, I usually say.
Yes. So yeah, we always hear about Japanese business culture being known, or the Japanese, they are known because they are serious and trustworthy, but they also test a lot the suppliers, right? So the companies often spend years sending small orders before the Japanese importer, decides to make something that you consider an order. But once trust is established, the business grows. Did you felt this need for creating a relationship with them? Of course, being there, I believe it helped a lot, the period that you spent there. But from then on, how is it going? It's how is the relationship between you and them? Even in personal aspects, does that matter, or it's just business that matter?
Well, it's a complex question because things are changing a lot since the beginning. But going to the beginning, because I think it's important. In fact, before you start, they want to know everything about you, about how you produce, all the value chain. They want to understand it. They in that time, it took us 2 years to start to receive the order, let's say. But before, they came to our factory several times. Besides all the information that they requested previously, they came to see how the product was produced, to see the food safety that were implemented in the company, the quality issues, everything. They really matter with all those aspects. And as you said, when they trust on the process and when they trust on the people, because it's still very important, they really start. It's very interesting, but it's a long process. It's a process that many people are not able to wait for so long. It's a patience, let's say, moment. It's delicate. It's difficult because you really need to believe that you are going to build something. Otherwise, you say, why I'm doing all this effort to reach Japanese market. But at Vieira, since the very beginning, when we start approaching foreign markets, we understood that Japan for us would be very important for two reasons. The first one is because it's a very innovative country where we can learn a lot. But from the other side, it is so strict that if we were able to start working with Japan, we would be able to work with the rest of the world, let's say. So it was like a flagship that will open doors also in other markets. And it was a decision from the company. We want to be in Japan. We are going to be in Japan. We will do all the effort to achieve that expectation. So it took us 2 years. It was very difficult. And from now on, and I would say the first 15 years, the structure, the organization was very stable there. The people were always the same. It is a very big distribution company that belongs to Mitsubishi Group. And they were coming here to make verifications and to see everything every year. And we were going there also every year to share and to understand what was going on and to build up together the approach to the market. But the truth is that in the last, I would say, 10 years, many things changed. The people are not stable in their jobs as here in Portugal. They are changing a lot. So the relation that we built up in the beginning, I would say it disappeared, doesn't exist.
Okay, it is lost.
Yes, which is a challenge. But going to the first part of the relationship is mainly professional. It's very difficult to build up as we are used here. Let's have a dinner, or let's take a coffee, let's speak a little bit outside the office or something. It was very difficult. Of course, we have dinners with the distributor, but it was formal dinners. That you cannot say whatever you want, you cannot ask whatever you want. It was just Japanese style.
So when you compare it, for example, with China, it's different. And China is much more relaxed and informal.
Yes,
so
yes.
You need to go and have dinner with them and lunch, but
Yes.
very informal, very, very friendly.
Yes,
Japan is more formal.
It's very formal. It was very formal.
It was.
But then after some years of relation and after my stay also was very, very helpful on that aspect. In fact, I could build up a good relationship, friendship with 2 or 3 people. But we never demonstrate that relationship in the office. It was out of the office. And it was hidden. It was curious because I went to have dinner at home, in a family home of one of the employees of the distributor, but he told me, Anna, you cannot say a word about this dinner. And till today, we took pictures that I never saw. There was no mobiles like today, not smartphones. I never saw a picture. I'm still friend of these people, but till today, in the middle of the professional rooms, we never spoke about it. So, but it was helpful, and it's very important to try to build up this kind of relationships because we are talking about a partnership of 30 years. They face several stages of changes. And which were very difficult to understand from this side of the world. And those people are important sometimes to clarify and to make questions that usually you cannot do to your customer as a customer. You can do to a friend, say, even cultural things, saying why they are saying that. How can I solve this situation with this context? Because I don't understand why you are putting the issues in this perspective. I don't see the same perspective. So these people are important, and creating these relations are important to have an informal place where you can even clarify some cultural aspects that at good faith you don't understand, and you can commit a mistake if you don't understand it. So it was very important. That is in the first let's say 15 years of partnership. Then people changed a lot, and as I told you, that team doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
Many of them are retired already as well. The senior managers already are retired, and young people disappeared and are new people. It is completely different. They don't visit us as they
Okay.
used to be. They are not. They are still strict, asking about the details of the process and how we do, but they don't come here to confirm if we are doing okay or not. But it's more, I think it's more distance now.
Okay.
We are more distant from them.
But does that impact on sales, or, you know, sales keeping the same?
Also, D4 is bigger now. Their company also grows a lot. But it forces us to do the strategy is different today. We visit them much more often.
Okay.
Because to track the changes and to know the people. I can give you an example. I went to Japan last year because I knew no one in the company, and I said, how come? It's not possible. We
That's
also
the
have
challenge.
changes on our teams. So I asked our market manager, schedule please a visit. I want to visit them. And you know what was the answer? We want to know the name, the profile, the experience at Vieira of the CEO. I went there in the last 30 years.
Oh my
They
God.
ask everything as if I was unknown.
Yes.
It was very strange. It was very strange. But the truth is that we restart building the relationships with the team, and it is being developed again.
Okay.
But I was looking to Japan and seeing Japan will disappear if we don't do nothing.
Yes, if you do, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the strategy is different. Our effort is bigger. They still strict, but they don't follow as in the past. They don't take care of you as in the past.
Okay.
So you are just more a number than other thing.
Okay.
So
it's amazing that change. Yeah. We have a question here by Ana Oliveira that has exactly to do with this. I think you replied already, because she was asking how long did it take to get Japanese trust and what aspects contributed the most to it. So yes, you already replied. And Oliveira, if you still have something else to ask, please let us know. And this is also an invitation for the other participants. If you have any question, just write it down in the chat. I'm having a look at it, and I will try to reply as soon as I can. And well, Japan is also a very high context culture, in the sense that the communication is not direct. So we need to read between the lines. They are known, or they were known, because they couldn't say no. You know, all that stuff that we learn and that we experienced. But how is it now? You know, you were telling us about the different behavior of, you know, the people you were working with in the past, with this new generations. Does this change also? Did it change, or it's the same? You know, the communication not so direct, and you need to try to figure out between the lines what they are saying.
Well, the formal communication is exactly the same. When they send you an email with some issue, is exactly the same, very structured, with the when, why, and how is it going to be solved. Basically, these are the three questions. But in terms of generation, I feel a big change in different aspects. One is that in the past, we only dealt with men. And nowadays we have category managers that are women and very professional, very interesting. And the other aspect is the new generations are more open when they are personally with you. They will not write nothing in an open way, but talking. You feel that you can ask things more deeper than in the past. But it's a matter of generation. The older people are still more formal. As younger as they are becoming more open and more curious also about you, and to understand also a little bit of your culture, because in the past we have to adapt a lot to them, but they didn't want to understand. They were not they usually didn't think about our culture, but nowadays they are curious. They want to understand what we eat, what are our traditions, and everything, which it changes. It is changing.
Okay. And you can find the Portugal taruto, the
Yes.
Portuguese egg tart
Egg tart.
there, right? With some adaptations. I saw some with matcha and the
Yes.
red beans. You know, it's a local adaptation, but well, still, you know, and well, at least in the past, they knew that we were the first Europeans to arrive in Japan in 1543, which was something important, and that it still exists, the castera, the pão de
castera
ló, the
cake.
traditional cake, which is fantastic. And going also to your personal experience, and we are talking about food. You know, do you like Japanese food? Most of us, we think that, you know, Japanese food is just sushi, but it's much more than that.
No.
How was the adaptation back in the 2000s when you were
Back in
there?
2000 was really a new experience, because we were not used in Portugal to have Japanese restaurants as we have today. Today is very common. Our children all eat sushi and Japanese food, but in the 2000 it was zero, and we were used to our family food, mother's food. So arriving to Japan was quite difficult in terms of, it was the most difficult thing for me. It was to adapt to the Japanese food. It was the place where I eat the first sushi, standing in a ballroom. It was and eating with chopsticks all together at once. It was an experience, a strange experience. But then step by step, slowly, I start knowing other kinds of Japanese food. Today I love Japanese food and not sushi.
Many other things
than
tempura,
shabu shabu, tempuras, and all those
yakitori.
things.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
the ramen and everything.
Ramen, so good.
Everything.
That you have
So
to eat, but with some noise, right?
Yes, that was another strange thing. I was very young. It's important to tell that it was my first experience outside the parents' house. So I left my parents' house where they took care of me 24 hours, and suddenly I landed in Japan. And it was, in terms of emotional feelings, was really tough to adapt to the moment. And the food was very important, and it was in Japan that I understood that how food is important in our emotional balance. It's important. It's very important. And then it was in Japan. It was very difficult. And one day they invited me to lunch, and it was many raw food. Still today, I don't know what I have eaten on that time. And together with goat milk, fresh goat milk, that I hate milk. So it was an experience, and I really think in my parents' house, saying, "Oh, what am I doing here? It's so difficult." But that was enables also me to being prepared to go everywhere else, which is very important. And that's why I recommend, and I say to my team every day, when I see my team here, I say, "What are you doing here? You should be in the markets. That's where the things are happening. That's where you understand and you can be more successful." So it was very difficult, but it was the most important experience I had to be so passionate for what I'm doing.
Yes, I really understand. I had a similar experience. Yeah, though I like the food very much from the very beginning, and that helped a lot. We have here a comment by Carlos Lobo. He's a guitar player. He's talking here about Fender. Well, it can be a bass player as well. But Carlos is saying, "I truly feel that a distinct characteristic of products made in Japan it is concerned with quality. As an example, Fender Japan made guitars retain a better value than the American made, just as an example. The same can be applied to cars, which are notoriously reliable. Yes, it's true. I remember before going to Japan, I worked for a short period of time. It was like an internship before going to Japan in a company that was Maconde. They were doing manufacturing men's suits. And I remember a story because you have those things here, soft things that in the past you had in the men's suit. And the people at the production, they were coming, like stretched with a staple, and then you were taking them out. And once in a while, one of them was taking the staple with it. And I remember that the Japanese importer complained about it and forced the company to buy a metal detector. So they needed to use the metal detector before putting the men's suit in the containers. We have a lot of stories about it. There's a company in Famalicão in the meat industry that they also talk a lot about the requirements and how demanding the Japanese are. But the fact, and you mentioned that already, that is, if you can sell to Japan, it's like having a quality seal, right? It's like it's telling if I sell here, I can sell, at least in terms of quality, high standards, I can sell everywhere in the world. And I believe you might have some examples and stories, right? I remember one that you were talking about a biscuit that was coming upside down. And what stories can you share with us about this quality that Carlos is correct? They are very demanding and
in that was the reason why I went to Japan, to live in Japan. It was the upside down biscuit that I couldn't understand in a Portuguese perspective. How could be a claim?
And they were complaining about it, right? And
yes,
saying,
they were complaining.
Why is this happening? And
yes. And once I was young and I didn't have yet the conscience of the formality that they used to have, I asked them in a dinner, why are you complaining about the biscuit upside down? It's the same biscuit, it's okay. And that's when I was invited to go to Japan. But we have another very interesting situation that I like to share, which was suddenly we received a claim of a mosquito inside a package of biscuit.
Okay.
And as usual, when they have a claim like that, protein. Today it would be the answer, but not on that time. And as usual, when they make a complaint, they register the LOT number, they send you the sample, they send everything so that you can analyze. And they send us the pack with a mosquito. And we say, how can we solve this now? This is a huge problem. How can we do? We are in the middle of the countryside. Of course, we have all the protections in terms of these kinds of issues, but it's not 100% guarantee on that time. Today, the evolution is very big. But we decided to analyze the mosquito in an external laboratory. So we could prove that it was an Asiatic mosquito, not a Portuguese mosquito.
Okay.
And that was the answer. We said, no, I'm sorry. The mosquito is not ours, it's yours. So what happened? And then the consumer confessed. He opened the pack near a tree and he was eating it. And suddenly it came from the tree. And when he looked inside the pack, it was a mosquito there. It was not ours. But there are many situations like this, and we had to follow all the claims every year. We have a specific meeting in Japan to analyze the claims, and for me the best moment of this was I don't know, it was 2003. It was during their exhibition. They used to have an internal exhibition for the foreign producers with their local customers. And at the end of the exhibition, they called us saying, Anna, now you are going to meet with us to speak about the claims. Okay, but in that year, they didn't ask me to go to the meeting. And I told them, what is happening? I'm the only one that I'm not going to the meeting. And they said, congratulations, you are zero claim supplier of the only zero claim supplier of our company. So it was fantastic. But still today, it's normal to have claims because every customer, every consumer claim when they have a doubt or something, then it's normal. Of course, that in the beginning, I could tell you that we could have around 50 claims a year. Today, you can have 2-3 claims. It's completely different. It means that your process also is in a different stage of
maturity,
evolution,
evolution.
maturity. Yes, everything. Technology also came to help a lot in some of the aspects of the process. And nowadays we are completely, it's the same selling to Japan or selling to any other country. We don't put even effort when we are preparing an order as we did in the past.
Okay. What advice, suggestion would you give to a company that is looking now to Japan? What would be the main steps? What would you recommend them to do, before going deeper into the market?
First of all, I think that Japan is a market of very interesting opportunities for Portuguese companies. I'm talking more of food companies, of course, that I'm more related. Portuguese companies are flexible, are adaptive, are very professional and high standards of quality. So we have all the ingredients to work with the Japanese market. That is very demanding. So the first it's not a recommendation. It's Japan. It's a very interesting market, and we have all the ingredients to be successful there. But to be there, we need in the first. For me, the most important is where we start this conversation. To know them, is to visit. It's not doing business from Portugal to Japan, it's going to Japan to do business. That is very important, to understand them, to understand the market and the different channels that exist for the different kind of business. Of course, if we are talking about different products, of course the channels and the opportunities are different, but the market is there. But we need to understand, because otherwise it's very difficult to overcome the first barriers of knowledge and everything to be as successful as possible.
Well, the Japanese are also known for their punctuality, so we must finish on time. There's 1 minute to go. Raquel, thank you so much for your time. It was amazing to have you here with us. We also have a comment by Henry just saying, actually he's just commenting on Carlos about the quality, saying that yes, he also agrees with this high standards and the demands by the Japanese. So thank you all for being here with us. Raquel, thank you so much for accepting the invitation. All the best, and we keep in touch and hope to see you in Japan one of these days.
Everywhere, anywhere in